You know, I'll get it all squared away.
I'm sure. I'm sure. I'm not worried about it.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about it.
We do everything.
How are you? All right. All right.
Guys do like tech and IT stuff too? I've been using a guy, who's been great, but some of his methodology is antiquated. I'll definitely call it back and do it.
Hey, Barry. How are you? Good. How you doing? Good. I haven't seen you in a while.
Yeah, no. How are you? Good. Anxious for winter to be over.
I run a ski area, so I'm not anxious for it to be over.
You know, I should rephrase. I would wish my spring would come closer and I could spend more time skiing.
Yeah.
Rephrase. I would wish my spring would come closer and I could spend more time skiing.
Yeah.
We really enjoy the mountains.
Oh, good.
Just this year, kind of a tough year to start.
It's been hard, but you know we have a really good snowmaking system. Yeah, we have 30 trails open right now. 35, I think. And if we get the snow on Monday, we're supposed to get another foot.
That'll be good.
Yeah, we'll have everything, but a few of the the expert, the double blacks will be open. We need a little more snow on those.
That's what I've been waiting for too.
Yeah.
We went a few times early season.
It's hard. I mean, Wildcat has like 8 trails open. I mean, it's getting killed because they've never had good snowmaking up there.
Right. They don't usually. They get a lot more snow, and everybody else speed up in the knowledge. They just get kind of dumped on.
Exactly. Yeah, there should be a lot of snow coming this month though. So by February break, we should be in real good shape for the vacation, the vacation weeks.
December, early January has always been kind of a crapshoot.
It is. It always is, and that's what you have the snowmaking for, and that's why we upgraded it. Because pretty much any year we can open at Christmas and have 20 plus trails open, regardless of how much snow we got. So, yeah, how's it going? Good. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, Loon upgraded theirs. I want to say 7-8 years ago. We upgraded ours about 4 years ago. Yeah. It's all. We all have 400 low energy guns now. Yeah. And we actually this year we just added some stuff to the top of the mountain. Because we had to put in a new pump station as well because we couldn't get the water all the way up there. It's so high.
That's you must have seen that picture on the news with the
guys
pipe burst. I was just thinking about when you said you got one up on the top. Like, I'm about to hear about the pump because you saw that pressure.
Oh yeah.
So it's a pretty major deal trying to get that water.
Oh yeah. No, it's actually we have one pump station and then we just put another one up near. Basically 2/3 the way up the summit, and that gets what we need to the top.
It's pretty funny. I have a hard time pumping engineers. Can't imagine trying to do that.
Yeah, it's just it comes down to the equipment, and what you have.
Yeah, right.
We have a river we draw from, so it's not that big a deal.
Almost a freeze. That's why it don't seem like it's a big deal to me.
It's not. That's usually not our problem. Our biggest problem is just maintaining pressure. More than anything else, and the right pressure mix between the water and the air.
Yeah, right, because that's how the snow makes it.
Exactly. That's what does it. So, all right, John, I'll turn this on so we're ready. We are live. That's going.
No worries. Don't worry.
What? Yeah. Do you want one?
We just don't have time. Mini Staples. Yeah, back to Staples so we can do this. Yeah, every time. Maybe 10 minutes.
Yeah, you're welcome.
It's 5:30, it's like, we were like, what, you guys were like, oh, we had a snack earlier, and then the chicken. What was it making?
Yeah, I don't know, that's what it was saying for a second.
Well, you have minutes to spare.
Yeah, you're really not late. All right, I'm going to go ahead and call this meeting of the Newfields Planning Board to order. This is the January 13th, 2022 meeting. As way of introduction, board members and others here this evening, we have Jeff Kuchar, Michael Sununu, who is also our selectmen's representative. My name's John Hayden. I'm going to chair the meeting for you all. Jeff Feenstra, Michael Todd, Sue McKinnon is our minute taker, and our planner is Glenn Greenwood. I know Bill Meserve had notified us that he would not be here this evening, and our other board member has just walked in the room and surprise. So it looks like we got a full house, so that's great. So the first item on the agenda this evening is a discussion of mailbox location on the what's known as the Lily Lane subdivision of Block Route 87. And that's Byron Muck. Okay. So what do we do? You don't have to, but if you'd like to, you certainly don't have to.
Oh, okay. I stand up.
No, that's fine. Please sit.
Yes, I'm Sandy Lowe, Lily. And when we first moved into the neighborhood just about a year ago, it was a different builder. We bought the property from Frank Swanson, and we were under the impression at the time, being told that the mailboxes, once the town took over the street, that the mailboxes were going to be moved up in front of the houses. And where I understand it's going to be favorite mailboxes, we get that. I thought that the mailboxes were under the domain of the post office. So when the builder, the current builder, anyway, had said something about that discussion was taking place. I went to the post office because as a senior citizen and someone who is permanently disabled, that wall to discuss it further, the bid margin especially in winter time. Post office does not have a problem with moving the mailboxes up the street and being farther up in front of our houses. But then when I came into, I said, you know, fine, great, I'll let the town know that we had the discussion. And when I came in, I found out that it had already been planned and it is still down at that far in. Is there a way that we can change that?
So, without referencing prior minutes of that particular approval, don't recall the reasoning behind placing mailboxes in a particular monument out in front of the subdivision. I don't, go ahead. Go ahead.
I think
Go ahead.
indicating you.
Go ahead.
The other thing is there, they can't turn around, there's no space. It's either a 3-point or they're going to come down all the way to the end anyway, use the T to turn around.
Sure.
Anyway.
Yep, that's understood. So again, and forgive me, Glenn, if I don't recall, but were you involved in this?
I wasn't involved in this one, but the federal government changed their rules about 24 months ago and said that there would no longer be delivery at house sites in subdivisions.
Right.
And said that they would only deliver to a communal mail system. So I'm surprised that the Newfields Post Office has said that's not
Well,
their
the
intent.
Newfield Post Office sent me to talk to the post office in Stratham because they're actually the ones who are in charge of our mail delivery. But it was the postmaster in Stratham that said, this is not a problem, and our delivery person was actually in on the discussion, and he said, the short street, there's only 4 houses there, it's perfectly fine with me, I have no issue.
So could it be that the reasoning behind that is because of the circumstance? Or, I mean, in other words, would we just maintain the monument for the rest of the homes in the neighborhood, and you would have one in front of your house, or would it be talking about, I guess,
They didn't seem to have a problem with doing it,
for the entire
for
neighborhood?
the entire neighborhood, or if they wanted to a bank, there's no issue with doing it as a bank, but can we move that bank farther up into, there's 3 houses out that are in,
Right.
and only the one that farther in. So-
Yeah, I mean, I suppose the location of the bank of boxes would certainly be open to discussion.
I don't remember any discussion about this.
Yeah, I don't either.
I remember talking about this. Really? Yeah, I definitely do. I remember, and you're absolutely right, because there was some discussion about the post office changing the rule about having individual mailboxes, and I distinctly remember that. You know, so I'm not, you know, but are you talking about just moving the whole bank down there? I mean,
Yeah, we don't
Yeah.
mind it being in a bank as long as
yeah.
it's not,
So what lot do you want?
we're at 13, we're in, I believe it's lot 40.
Lot 3, up on the hammerhead to the left.
Yes.
Okay.
And then my problem is I'm not home every day. I work for airlines, so I'm about half a month. And my Coast Guard job, I'm gone for another bunch of days, so she's on her own. She's on her own. I'm accounts payable, receivable.
So, I can't imagine that the board would have necessarily put that bank of boxes in a particular location other than where the developer
That would be-
put it on the plan.
That would be the only reason I would presume.
I mean, as I said, I don't even recall actually even discussing it, so I'm fairly confident that it was just something that was on the plan and probably quickly presented as such.
We feel like there should be some communication with, being that there's 2 homes that are occupied and, you know, have been existing there for a year, that maybe some communication should have taken place with us before they made that decision.
Well, the subdivision would have been completed prior to any of the home sites being available for sale. So again, my point, the comment about where the bank of boxes is on the plan is something that was done during approval just as an arbitrary location. reason why I'm saying that is I don't necessarily feel that moving it would be an issue.
Okay.
And so that said, is there some protocol that we need to pay attention to here, Glenn, that you're aware of, or?
This is such a minor thing. I usually, when the board is gonna adjust something that's on the approved plan, I would generally like input from the town engineer and then perhaps even reopening the public forum. I don't think that's necessary here. I mean, I think if the post office, it would be good to have from the post office where they're going to do delivery for this road. Because I think that should be added to the filing after this.
Yeah.
So that if somebody comes in and says to Sue one afternoon, why aren't they using this mail area? We have that supporting information from the mail, from the post office. But
They need to
if the post office is willing to do this, I think that's a wonderful thing. It's very nostalgic in my experience these days.
So, is it preferred that there's a bank of boxes? It probably would be for the post office, because they can pull up in one stop, right?
That is presumably why they changed the federal law.
Yeah.
Was because,
Efficiency.
yeah, they've been under such pressure to not be a sinkhole of federal funds, that this was one way of doing it. I mean, most post offices that I've worked with, like Exeter's and Kingston's, have told me outright, no more individual delivery. Everything will be in some sort of communal area.
So it would sound to me like if you folks can provide the board with some documentation from the post office, either supporting individual boxes for that particular subdivision or a location that's suitable for them to put the bank, and I guess suitable within the neighborhood that people are happy with, I think that's really the only way the board could move forward with your request. And again, I think Glenn's correct in his assertion that it's not necessary to reopen a whole public process about this. I think it's a fairly simple thing. You know, if you can get some kind of letter to the board or even to the town office that supports from the post office supporting the individual boxes, I think it's kind of a moot point. They can go ahead and you can put your boxes out and they can deliver your mail. If
I said, we don't really care whether it's a bank of
understood.
post office.
Yeah.
So even with that, where it's placed,
It could be moved, it's just, I think we would need to know, I guess, a preferred location for where it would be.
Probably a good idea to talk to Brian, the road agent.
Road
Just a
agent
plot
or, yeah,
line, just to make sure it's not gonna get in the way.
or the post office to make sure there's nothing about a particular depth off the main road for, you know, who knows?
when I first talked to the post office, they weren't even aware that any of it was taking place.
Understood,
so.
yep, no, I understand, but again, I think in order to, you know, effectuate your request, we need
Okay.
a little bit more information to
All
make
right,
it
so if
up.
I take the plot plan to the post office, they
Yeah, just so that's what I'm saying, mark it right on there. Maybe choice one, choice two. You know.
Yeah, but town's fine with individual boxes if they're, it's up to them, frankly. I mean, if they're willing to give you a letter stating that they'll individually service those house lots on Lily Lane without need of a bank of mailboxes, then that's great. If they say, no, we need a bank of mailboxes for the subdivision, find out if it can be moved, if it's not been put here by the engineers purposefully.
Okay.
In other words, you know, so they can be a certain distance from what, you know, who knows? I don't know what the rules are for that.
Okay. And then when it comes to trash pickup, is that going to be at each home? or-
Yeah, I would assume trash pickup would be in the
Yeah,
driveway.
trash pickup is at individual houses.
That won't have to go up?
No.
No.
Both trash and recycling are done on a household by household basis.
Yeah, put it at the end of your driveway. Yeah.
It's getting hard to bring that trash picked up.
I bet. Any other questions for us this evening?
You want, we can go to the post office, take care of this, and deliver back to town hall.
Absolutely.
There you go.
Yes.
You want marked and a letter from the postmaster?
I mean, I think that would be appropriate to be able to have that documentation to put in the file. I don't think it's necessary to.
And we can deliver it rather than them write it and send it in.
Sure. Sure. Yeah.
All right.
Sure. Sure. Yeah. I think it's appropriate. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming up.
Yeah. Welcome to the
All right. Thank you, you too.
All right.
Good luck.
Next item on our agenda this evening is a preliminary discussion with Derek Rupp.
So, everybody's familiar with our property in Sydney, right? So we're talking about with, as a family, as a trust, selling down Conservation and Southeast Bank, ransom interface. So we're at the point now where our surveying portion is pretty well complete and looking to do our appraisal, get a load plan essentially for what would be potential development. And being on the planning board help us with that process a little bit, to make sure that we don't have any pitfalls along the way, et cetera, just have a better understanding, I guess, of what the rules are. I have read through some of the zoning rules, and it seems, some of it seems a little gray, so we can get some clarifications. And present to you guys what our thoughts are, just go from there as a discussion.
And I'll add just a little bit. I'm Dwayne Hyde with the Southeast Land Trust. So we'll be hiring with the Ruggs an engineering firm to do the conceptual development plan, just for appraisal purposes, so the appraiser can understand what the highest and best use of the property from a real estate perspective is. I think, so they obviously will be going through the ordinance. We typically hire somebody who has done work in Newfields or knows Newfields ordinance as well, and can, so that they prepare a plan that would likely be approvable through your process. We don't go through the development process and bring a plan to you all for approval, because that would be too costly and take a lot of time and effort. So there may be, I think, are there some particular issues?
Well, yeah, we also have a business there also, so there's been several discussions of what is going to be the best use, what the town wants in return. I want to be able to keep my nursery up and running for agricultural reasons, plants, et cetera, whatever. It's all for recreational behind us, so there's obviously some emergency road access, which I think we can kind of tie into the whole process. But again, I think this was like more of an exploration. What is the town looking for from us? What is it that the use of the land, how can we best share it? I don't know what the best way to say it better than that. So if you guys have any comments, or if we can go up and show you a couple maps and show you what the land is, and then the pieces, this will also share into the town of Exeter. So we'll be meeting up and talking with them to their portion.
Yeah, and that was actually one of the things, as you know, the property does extend into Exeter. It's likely that the conceptual plans will rely upon some type of open space subdivision design. And I don't know if you all have had experience when land is in another, the property includes land in another community, and whether that can be part of the open space from a overall density calculation point of view.
Yeah, we weren't sure. Like, so in other words, what we're looking at is like if we have two road access, which we do, and we were to put in a subdivision, is it better for it to be planned out as a conservation subdivision and using the lots into Exeter, or is it better for us to run a road up along the boundary and sell executive lots on the other side? Just a lot of different use ideas, and we just weren't sure. Like when I read about the conservation easements or the conservation development, it's like there's some wording that you can use all of your land in the conservation development, but there's like some fire access, emergency access. I don't really quite get what that whole was. Like you said, we'll be working with somebody that has a better understanding of it. But we were just trying to get a conceptual idea to go to the person and say, this is what we're thinking. I figured we'd start here with you guys.
So I think what you're thinking of is the buffer.
Yeah.
To conservation subdivision.
Yes, I kind of like, it just couldn't quite wrap my mind around how all that would work and which way would be better for the town. What does the town also, like, with my business there, it would have to be divided, so there'd be a portion of the land that would be for recreation, and there would be the agriculture portion, so there'd probably be a couple different, was it easements or whatever, or.
Yeah, right now, what we're, so you understand, just today, from our earlier meeting, kind of wrapped our head around, there's the business on the property, so the concept that we're moving forward with right now, I haven't talked to the Conservation Commission about this yet, so this is kind of like breaking news, that is doing the project as, once again, a large part of it being owned by the town as part of the town forest, basically added on to the town forest, Exeter owning the Exeter portion. That's consistent with the conversations thus far with the Conservation Commission. But the new wrinkle is the portion where Derek's business is, and the field out back, doing a conservation easement on that portion of the property, rather so that he can continue to operate the business as a farm, as a nursery farm, but it's still protected. It's still part of the project. There would be an excluded area. I think that was the word.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for.
So we would exclude the front where the business buildings are and the infrastructure is for the business, but the backfield area would be under easement. And those easement terms we need to work on, but the trails would be, that are in the easement area would be allowed to be continued and could be relocated with the agreement of the landowner in the town. So that's a new nuance. And what we talked about is doing that all at once, an easement project and then outright acquisition under one ownership is a lot easier from an appraisal point of view, so that we can, because the easement area and the fee area, the acquisition area, can all be planned at once as far as the highest and best use goes for potential development. As far as for appraisal purposes, once again, when I talk about development, I'm only talking about conceptually for appraisal purposes.
So, agricultural conservation easement behind where your nursery is, a portion acquired by town, and a conservation subdivision?
No, the conservation subdivision, we're only talking about, once again, conceptually for appraisal purposes. It's just to understand the highest and best use of the property from a valuation point of view.
Okay.
No development.
Yeah, no, this is only about the town buying. This is all about conservation.
It's a
All our-
valuation of the conservation area.
Right. We're just trying to help. Right.
Okay. Are you the sole owner of the property?
It's a trust that owns it, all Bellrock Trust. Myself, my sister Keith, my father are all part of the trust. So,
And everybody is on board with this?
yeah, this is the plan that we're trying. So what we're trying to do right now, I guess, really is try to make a plan that's something that we can present to the town. So this is what we're selling, right? And this is how we want to sell it. So instead of us making this plan, coming here and you guys are going to go, that was stupid. We figured we'd come here first and make sure that there's no roadblocks on the Newfield side. Exeter will be next and see what their thoughts were, and then we'll start figuring it out from there what we want to do.
Yeah, and I guess the review of that conceptual plan, typically what we do, we sell when we're working on a project is when you have a professional planner like Glenn, we bring it to Glenn and he takes a look at it. I mean, if you all, because this is more of a town project, wanted it to come to not to the board just to see it, so that you all can weigh in on it, make sure it makes sense. I mean, I'm just throwing out an idea. We don't typically do that, but given this is a partnership with the town, that may be something you all would want to do.
And this is also our intent as a family is to sell this towards recreation, right? So right now it's already loaded with bike trails. So there's got to be some talk in the town about some sort of continuation of how we're going to maintain that, how that's going to be funded. There's already some examples to the state through, like the snowmobile clubs, et cetera, where it's all done without town funding, but it just needs to be recognized by the town. However, the town decides to do it. But I think this is another place where this discussion needs to be started opening up, because the more questions I ask, the less people don't really know. We've got to kind of answer those questions. And so I figured, get you guys started on thinking about that, what we want to do. And I know I've gotten several private money holders that are willing to come forward to a GoFundMe action, and water bike riders mostly, and they would like to have some say at the table about how the uses of are. So maybe other follow-up meetings, I'm sure, but again, I figured why even start anywhere but that in town, so.
Thank you.
how large a property is it, Jerry?
Total parcel, 140-ish.
And what portion are you looking at to keep for the nursery and?
It's around 22 acres, I think. It's 12 acres plus, well, maybe more like 20. I don't know exactly where it is, but it's going to be somewhere in that neighborhood.
Somewhere in that, you keep for the nursery and the business?
Exclusive would probably, looking at the map, maybe 5 or 6 acres up towards the front is where all my buildings are. And I think we just say that's where the buildings are on this property. And then the rest would just be something that we'd be shooting for agriculture. Maybe my compost, maybe a place to store trailers, definitely in the trees. So just, yeah, so that's where I think that.
So you're talking about approximately 100, call it 120 acres under the easement?
Yeah.
And of that, how much is in Exeter?
I think that's the Newfields portion.
That's a Newfield portion, okay.
But again, we've got, so just so you know, this was a pretty interesting story and a very expensive one to find out. But Don and Wilson did a very thorough job on the research. And part of our parcel, which is the Blue Mealway, our main portion of our land has never been surveyed since the beginning of the time. It's always been sold as a plus or minus parcel. So there's some thought process through just rough measurements that it's about 20 acres more, which was a pretty common practice back in the day. You didn't want to be caught selling it short, but I guess 20 acres is kind of throwaway, which blows me away. But so that's why we're a little hesitant about giving a total acreage.
No, I just want to understand ballpark.
Yeah, about that. And then the town of Exeter, in the total parcel, looks like about 150, 160. The town of Exeter looks like they're going to be somewhere around 27 to 37 acres, and there's still some legality issues there. In the corner that is questionable. There's a person that owns in the middle of us that we're talking about making an acquisition with to team up just to kind of finish it off. So that the hope here is that this land will connect to the already conservation land, and we really should have a great ride or walk all the way to Fort Walk Farm, on the other side. People walking in downtown Exeter from Newfields. It should be quite awesome.
So 120 acre approximate conservation easement. Dwayne, what kind of ballpark number are we talking about? I don't know. Look, I'm asking because the town has to start thinking about this. And we've dealt with easements before in this town, and the 7-figure easements.
Right.
If that's what we're talking about, I think it would be beneficial if we knew sooner rather than later. As opposed to this number coming out at a point in time where the town says,
we can't plan for this. That's
why we're here.
I understand that.
That's why we're gonna, so, and just one point.
Well, let me ask you this question. The last 100+ acre easement that the Southeast Land Trust was involved in, how much was it? I'm not saying that this is gonna be the same.
Yes.
This is Newfields, the property's totally worth
I think
more.
it was like 7 million, was it, for the Greenway for 180 acres?
Well, yeah, we've got a lot of projects.
Yeah, but so, I would think, listen, it seems like there's a kind of a back-end equation, right? So we figure out how many house lots Newfields would be able to hold in the town, actually the subdivision, and it would be about a third or 30%, depending on who wants to do the math. I would like to see 33%, but who wouldn't, right? But at the end of the day, that's about what we're looking at, the cost of the going house lots in the town of Newfields, right? And then the same thing would be represented into the town of Exeter. So what we're trying to figure out is the same thing that you're trying to figure out. It's like, how much do we have to ask the town to come up from? How much is South Pleasant? They've been working already on finding us grant money to the federal.
No, I get that.
Yeah. And I'm with you. This is the driving question, right?
Look, after this meeting, I mean, we're live.
Yeah.
The talk around the town will be, how much are we gonna, and I'm just, as a select board member, people are gonna be asking me, for sure, how are we gonna deal with this? And I just wanna get a sense of, how much are we talking about?
Yeah, and I have not, and that's why we're here. Well, what we will be doing, we'll be giving, it's not gonna pop up, a month before town meeting. That's why we're working.
If it does, we'll probably be waiting a year.
Yeah, exactly. That's why we're working now for next year.
Correct.
And what we will present to everyone when we have, the appraised numbers.
So when do you think that the appraisal will come in and you guys will be ready to come to the town? 7 more months?
A couple months. I think it depends on Bruce's side of things, right? I mean, I guess we can have a private lesson on that.
But sometime this spring,
by springtime.
you'll have a ballpark number.
We're hoping.
Okay.
With COVID and sickness, it's hard
I
to.
know.
I think spring's realistic. I'm a little bit more of an optimist, and I would say 2 months is probably.
Yeah. so that's why, I was, I think we'll be able to share that information hopefully soon, and be able to, we'll be working on, okay, based upon that, what are all the funding sources we can bring to the table, Exeter's component, Newfield's component, we can present that and hear what people have to say. Just one point of clarification, we're not talking 120 acre conservation easement, we're talking probably about 100 plus acres of ownership by the town.
Town ownership.
Town ownership.
Oh, okay.
And about 20 acre conservation easement.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, we want, I want this to become, my thought and our family's thought was to make this more like a town park. It's already been used for the last 25 years by the town as that kind of destination ride.
Connects to the forest, right?
Right, so it's already, that's the town forest, and we thought, well, naturally, we have a great place off of 87, we can put a nice parking lot, so there'll be access for people. So we thought that's the direction we'll go, but again, this is why we're here, for the selectmen here, the planning board here, you guys, what is it, what you guys want?
And so if the town is buying this 100 acres, is the concept that the town is going to buy it and it's going to have an easement requirement on it? In other words, is the town buying 100 acres? Or is the town buying 100 acres that has a handful of restrictions on what that land can be used for?
Right, so if the town buys it, if the town were willing to pay 100% of the costs, okay, the town would own it and they could do with it without any restrictions at all.
Correct.
If the town wants to reduce the amount of money that is contributed and bring in outside funding sources, we're gonna have, those outside funding sources are gonna come with restrictions. So that's the normal thing. They're gonna be consistent with conservation and recreational use of the property. So, the town can conduct forest management, the town can maintain and construct trails.
Well, I mean, there's the town forest down here, there's obviously the town, has a role and responsibility with the conservation land around town. So this sounds like it's gonna be a mix of kind of, or potential options in terms of what we're gonna pay and what we're gonna get.
Yep.
Okay.
So, that makes sense to everyone?
It does. What other feedback were you looking for?
Well, I guess more than anything else, we just wanted to present to the town what we wanted to do, so you guys can have backdoor discussions on, like we say, how we're going to fund this, what does the town want out of it? Is it what you need from us to move forward? Because, this thought has been here for a long time, but yet this is the first time we've been in front of the town, so we don't even know really, we gotta get the ball rolling, so this is our attempt to start rolling the ball.
Yeah, we have met with the conservation.
We haven't had a fun one, we got to the town, and I figured the planning board would be a good place, because you guys may say, well, there's restrictions on blah, 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 or whatever.
When it comes time, if everything happens, if we're successful, that the town supports the project, at the end of the day, there will be something coming before the planning board, because right now, this is all owned by the trust. And if the town were to own a portion of the property, we're gonna have to subdivide off that portion of the property for the town to own, which obviously that subdivision will come before the planning board. We could maybe do as a boundary line adjustment with the Inland Acres Town Forest, I think that's the right name, right? Inland Acres Town Forest, to make this, part of that overall lot. That we can figure out later, but the planning board will be playing a role in this project at the end of the day.
But I mean, conceptually, we want to know, just in case the town didn't decide to buy it, that what we're proposing is something we could eventually, develop or continue with.
Yeah, what our options are there too, because, this right now, everything we talked about has been for conservation. If conservation is going to there isn't going to be a follow-up with the development. So we're trying to get our ducks in order so that if you guys don't want it, well, then whoever the highest bidder is, it's going to be the next one next person up, so.
Well, and in fairness for the planning board, it's difficult to have much to say without benefit of some engineering and some plans.
Sure.
The last big project that we did, the Greenway project, the developer put it in as a subdivision to start.
Right.
And so we had engineered plans, we had all the information, test beds, road layouts, lot layouts, you know, well radiuses, the whole nine, in order for us to be able to give the developer the answer to the question of is this doable?
I think the idea is
Without
to save
that,
it, save money first, and maybe just understanding that we would have to go through that process eventually. But understanding that at least at a high level, what we're proposing, you know, obviously we'd have to go into a lot more detail to get it to a developer at that point, but.
Right, I guess more than anything else, what we're looking for, is there anything that we're missing moving forward that the town would want to see? Like, I don't think for conservation, at least in other ones that I've seen, we wouldn't have to go through the full level of land and development unless you're doing the development. The idea is to get an appraised value for the land.
I think what John's trying to say, and I get your point, but the reality is for you to come up with an appraisal, you've got to prove to us you can put in 49 houses.
Gotcha.
And for you to prove you can put in 49 houses, there's going to have to be some homework done to prove that.
Sure. So that, again, that's why we're here. So we know, like, I mean, if this is something we need to do test pits on 49 lots, we would probably need some headway to get that done. It's not that we wouldn't want to get this work done and do the due diligence that the town is requiring of us. But again, to Dwayne's point, the deeper we go in financially, the less of the top side discount that we're willing to give. So I understand that everything's a negotiation in life. So, you know, what we're looking for is like how do we get the ball started? Like the first round, maybe next month, we give you guys a conceptual plan of a draw up, and you guys say, well, that looks kind of, or whatever month it is, and you guys say that looks kind of cool, but we really need to see X. If we can kind of get that information up front, but you guys are saying we need to go through the 9, show the radiuses, if that's what the town wants, then it would be good to know now so we can get ourselves situated, or if not now, then at a next formal meeting or whatever. But at least we could try to, we're trying to do, bring ourselves forward and be transparent and upfront on what we're want to do with you guys, and we're just looking for the same back from you guys. So it doesn't bother us either way. Like I said, I mean, you guys must understand the magnitude of the amount of money we're talking about. It's not small, so if we need to do our homework up front, it's not the end of the world. We're going to pay at the end of the day. So.
And I don't want you to misunderstand my statements with regard to what I was saying in the other particular circumstance. It was just that that's how that project was proposed.
Right.
So what I would say is that, you know, the board does have flexibility in design when it comes to yield plans for conservation subdivision. We do allow for minimal test pitting and so forth in order to kind of generalize, you know, what can take place in order to come up with a yield. So that's, you know, something, and I think any reasonable developer engineer is gonna know pretty quickly. Your folks, Wayne, I'm sure, are gonna know pretty quickly, you know, whether or not a particular area is gonna yield a certain number of whatever. So yeah, I mean, it's really wonderful that you guys are looking at it from the standpoint that you are. It's impressive that you're coming in with the idea that, look, we want to do this as conservation up front, as opposed to, we want to hit the town with this huge subdivision and then try to, you know, sneak a conservation deal in at the end. Nice of you to be upfront about it. So yeah, I mean, I think if you guys are willing to work with the town, work with the board, we're certainly, myself anyway, more than willing to work with you guys to achieve what you need.
Excellent.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
And sure, like I said, I think it was just a better way of doing it. There's been several ways I've seen deals passed, and I didn't want to do it with Bear, I wanted to do it with Honey, so.
Other questions from board members for?
No, I think it's a good approach, and really happy that you started out with that process.
Yeah. So
Glenn, did you have anything to add?
The discussion of the reach over into Exeter. From the town's perspective, I'm perfectly willing to use that density, that space for density, as long as there isn't a zoning condition in Exeter that is prohibitive. So I'll be looking at that. Because if it's not a use on that land, if they have some odd 6 acre or 8 acre requirement in Exeter, we're not going to apply a new field standard on that land.
I hear you.
Yeah.
So that's another, in a extreme example, if Exeter zoning basically made some land undevelopable or fairly, you wouldn't obviously be able to use
We
that.
can't then say, oh yeah, we're gonna let you use that open space and let you say that you got a density of,
Yeah.
15 households.
Understood.
So that, I mean, I would be looking at that, and I would be looking to, I give a call to the planning department over in Exeter.
Makes sense.
Yeah, it's good, because if we're gonna be, the next meeting's gonna be Exeter, so we'll just, we figured the towns would have to talk at some point.
Yeah,
How small we're gonna.
I'd be happy to meet with your design team anytime.
Okay, great, thank you.
Unless the planning board said, don't do it. And I don't think that they would, that was kind of presumptuous of me just then.
I think it's too late for this month, but I think let's loop the Concom in.
Yeah, I was gonna say, so our next step, I guess I was gonna go to Sue, but I guess we can do it right here. We wanna get a sidewalk with the Concom and show feet on the ground what we're thinking, or anybody else in town that wants to come, and then we can take a quick walk around.
Yeah, notice, I'm sure there'll be folks in planning that will be to.
Yeah, then we can walk around, and we can talk about what the best use would be.
And that's
This is
beneficial for
what
them.
we're doing, everywhere, all things on the table.
Yeah, we were thinking again, particularly on the easement, this new easement nuance, and talk about where the easement area would be versus the fee.
So I think that Concom is gonna kind of come at this from more of a marketing approach.
Yeah.
So, let's try to do that with the Concom
Yeah.
and see if we can generate some interest.
Oh,
So that's a total.
we've got some interest already. I've been out there selling every day, so.
Excellent.
All right, thank you all.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Thanks very much. Have a great day.
See you soon.
All right, next item on the agenda is to review, approve the minutes from the December meeting.
Feedback from the liquor.
I wasn't.
No, you never get feedback unless they have.
They just approved,
Again, they reach out to the towns and they say, do you have anything to say? And then they take the town stuff into consideration for issuance of the license, but they really don't communicate that.
Okay, but wasn't one something the board could approve on their own? So should that would be in law? Thank you. Huh?
What do you want?
Sooner than later?
Okay.
I'm just saying that to you, but yeah. Yes, that would be good, because I like to get my ballot out first week in February.
Perfect.
Thank you.
This was the Jeopardy music.
I was just gonna say, it. So we cue Jeopardy music?
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes.
Okay, we have a motion to accept the December 9th, 2021 minutes as written.
I'll second.
A motion and a second, all those in favor? I abstain, I wasn't here. Any other business this evening before the board? Going once? Twice, we set for ordinances.
You know what, this plan,
What's that?
the plan that we just looked at earlier? There's no wall on this approved plan by the entrance that has
This
no wall.
was before my time.
This is the approved plan. There's no wall down there where the sign is.
I was thinking the same thing, you're right.
Just saying. Not to make it take time, just, it's just one of those things.
Are we set to go for the ordinances, for the ballots?
We just discussed the ballot, the formal ballot.
Okay. Any discussion on how we're gonna mitigate or handle or promote the the subdivision warrant article to folks? Have we had some
The
thought
one
about
that's
it?
almost certain to be misread by everybody in town?
Yeah, that one?
Yeah, that one.
I mean, is there a New Fields community newspaper?
Newspaper?
There's a
We have a
community email.
website, a listserv.
Yeah, there's
We
an
have a
email.
website we can put stuff on, and we can send something out to all residents.
Because I can put together, I offered to do this earlier, I
Yeah.
can put together just an explanation.
I think that would be very helpful.
And look, we
Put
can,
that out sooner than later.
and we can put that out from the planning board on the town, from the, on the town email.
Yeah.
I think that would be worthwhile.
All right, I will put that together, but I'm not gonna wait till our next meeting, so
No, no,
I'll
just-
send
no,
it
no,
out.
no.
And you can comment any way, anything you want,
Yes.
just send it back to me marked out.
Sure.
Okay. I'm willing to take to the Facebook
Okay,
as a civilian.
okay. Put your cyber armor on and,
Well, maybe you could use
I'm not on
the
the town.
Well, that's what I was gonna say, I'm more, I could,
As soon as that comes out, that's when the question will be ready. I think
yeah,
that's-
well, it's interesting. We had our budget hearing recently for the town, and there was an individual who spoke about the fact that for several years now, they've been voting against the capital reserve for the fire truck because they didn't understand that spending that $50,000 every year as opposed to $500,000 or $750,000 at once in 1 year was a huge benefit to keeping the tax base level. So unfortunately, this subdivision situation is the same sort of thing. People just don't understand, and it's kind of our job to
It's like
help them
SB2.
to understand. Yes, well,
Yeah, just like that.
yes.
If we still had town meeting, this would be an issue.
And
Correct.
then nobody comes to deliver session, so.
All right, so good. So we have a plan for that. Anything other than that?
Actually, you raised a good point, which is at the deliberative session, do we typically review, I don't even recall, do we review the plan?
No, we can't actually.
We weren't allowed to?
Not
No.
supposed to.
No.
That would be a good venue.
It is an odd thing that we don't, but because of the process and the fact that we have.
No, I get it, rules.
Yeah, yeah.
Could we have information available for people to take, you think?
What,
At the deliberative session?
we can, if you guys, yeah, if we can get it done before deliberative session and just print out, 50 of them and have them there, I think it's totally worthwhile.
Yeah,
And I'm sure one of the members of the board will probably mention that people should take a look at that as